Welcome back to my channel. Sometimes, the smallest things carry the biggest stories. A single copper-colored penny, often dismissed, dropped, or forgotten in the corners of desk drawers or deep inside pockets, can be the silent bearer of a legacy. The 1999 1-cent penny is no exception. In fact, it's one of those fascinating relics that seems ordinary, until the truth hidden within its metallic frame is brought to light. Behind its modest design lies a journey that stretches across decades, touching on innovation, transition, rare anomalies, and fortunes that few could ever predict. In 1999, the United States stood on the brink of a new millennium. There was electricity in the air, a blend of nervous anticipation and excitement about what the year 2000 might bring. Y2K fears dominated headlines, digital revolutions were on the rise, and yet amidst all this change, the humble penny retained a familiar face, Abraham Lincoln's profile still gazing forward, just as he had since 1909. The Lincoln cent, first introduced to honor the 100th anniversary of his birth, had become an enduring symbol of American resilience and tradition. The reverse side, still bearing the image of the Lincoln Memorial, had not yet made way for the upcoming Lincoln Bicentennial series that would debut in 2009. 1999 was, in many ways, the calm before a numismatic storm, but the 1999 penny holds more secrets than meets the eye. This particular year became significant for several reasons. First, it marked one of the final years of the classic memorial design before the turn of the century. Second, it was a year plagued, and blessed, by minting irregularities. The U.S. Mint, producing billions of coins annually, maintained rigorous quality standards, but the nature of high-volume production meant that some variations and errors inevitably slipped through. And those slip-ups? That's where the treasure lies. Collectors began to notice something strange. Some 1999 pennies had extremely crisp details, proof-like finishes, and doubled elements in the inscriptions or date. Others showed off-center strikes, off-metal errors, and even rare transitional planchet mistakes. Among these, a few exceptional examples were found to have been struck on improperly prepared planchets or featured strong doubling on the words, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." These weren't just minor imperfections. They were bold, dramatic, and undeniably unique. The penny, typically weighing just 2.5 grams and composed of 97.5% zinc with a copper plating, usually went unnoticed. But those with sharp eyes and passion began digging. Coin roll hunters, auction participants, and collectors across the nation were on the lookout. The search led to discovery after discovery. MS-67 and MS-68 grade 1999 pennies began surfacing with dazzling luster and mint brilliance that defied expectations. And with each discovery came bigger excitement. Then came the big news. A 1999 penny in near-perfect condition with visible doubling and flawless surfaces sold at a major auction house. It fetched a mind-blowing $115,500, setting off ripples across the coin-collecting community. As more examples were reviewed and authenticated, the value spectrum became clearer. Depending on error type, strike quality, and grading certification, the 1999 penny in rare forms could command anywhere from $68,000 to $122,000. And the kicker? Many of these coins were still floating in circulation, tucked in between pennies most people never glance at twice. Imagine the thrill of pulling a coin from your change, a coin you've held thousands of times in your life, only to realize that this one was different, that it might change everything. Stories have emerged of people discovering these rare 1999 pennies in estate coin jars, bank coin rolls, and even inside donation buckets. One man in Nevada, a retired machinist, found a 1999 penny with sharp, proof-like characteristics in a pile of coins his granddaughter had collected for a school project. On a hunch, he sent it to a grading service. It came back as MS-68 red with strong doubling and no signs of wear. That single coin, resting forgotten in a child's collection jar, would later sell at auction for over $100,000. So what makes the 1999 penny so compelling beyond its monetary value? It's the idea that even in the final year of the 20th century, a time filled with modern technology and tight regulations, true rarity could still emerge from a mass-produced object. It challenges our assumptions. It teaches that perfection and imperfection can sometimes coexist, and that hidden gems still exist in the most overlooked places. The 1999 penny also bridges two eras. It stands as a final nod to the past and a subtle foreshadowing of the changes that would come in the early 2000s. It reminds us that even the smallest denominations have stories worth telling. It's not just about copper and zinc, it's about the layers of American history pressed into every surface, the possibilities hidden beneath the patina, and the dream that somewhere, perhaps even in your own home, such a treasure might be waiting. Today, coin enthusiasts hunt down these elusive 1999 variants with a mix of hope and determination. Some search through hundreds of rolls a week. Others attend coin shows and estate sales, looking for that one pristine piece. It's not just about wealth, it's about the adventure, the discovery, and the magic of realizing that an everyday object can carry a legacy, a lesson, and a life-changing surprise. The 1999 1-cent coin proves that sometimes, a penny is not just a penny. It can be a rare artifact, a valuable relic, a chapter in a nation's story, and a symbol of unexpected fortune. So the next time you glance at a penny, don't toss it aside. Look a little closer. The date might just read 1999. And if the light catches it just right, you may find yourself staring at a piece of numismatic gold, small in size, but mighty in worth. In a world where treasures are often buried beneath layers of earth, hidden behind vault doors, or locked away in museum cases, it's easy to forget that sometimes, true fortune can be found in the most mundane places, like the palm of your hand, jingling in your pocket, or resting unnoticed at the bottom of an old coin jar. That's the curious case of the 1974 1-cent penny. It may seem small and ordinary, another copper-colored disc in a sea of billions, but the truth is, this coin holds a story that has captivated collectors, sparked debates, and led to life-changing discoveries. The year 1974 was one of transformation and challenge in the United States. It was the year President Nixon resigned in the aftermath of Watergate, and the country was trying to find its footing amid political upheaval, rising inflation, and changing economic tides. The U.S. Mint, like many other institutions, was feeling the pressure too. Copper prices had surged dramatically, threatening the cost-effectiveness of minting pennies. The U.S. government began to explore alternatives, cheaper metals, different compositions, and experimental approaches to the most foundational coin in American pockets. Enter the infamous 1974 experimental aluminum penny. At the time, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia struck over 1 million aluminum cents as test coins. The idea was to eventually phase out the standard 95% copper composition in favor of something far less expensive. But concerns quickly emerged, about durability, about vending machine compatibility, and most significantly, about visibility in medical X-rays, which could obscure internal imaging if accidentally swallowed. The program was quickly scrapped, and most of those aluminum test pennies were melted down. Yet whispers remained that a few survived, slipped out, and ended up in the hands of curious collectors. But while the aluminum cent dominated headlines, the regular copper-based 1974 1-cent penny quietly continued its minting in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. And among the billions produced, something remarkable happened. Some of them bore imperfections so unique, so compelling, that they would go on to become legends in the numismatic world. What makes a 1974 penny worth more than pocket change? It's all about condition, rarity, and the story each coin tells. Certain 1974 pennies were struck with a level of precision so perfect, flawless fields, deeply defined details, and vibrant luster, that they now sit at the very top of grading charts. Others carry rare mint errors that increase their value exponentially. Examples of double dies, off-center strikes, and even coins mistakenly struck on the wrong planchets have surfaced over time. These are the anomalies collectors crave, accidents that turn into assets, imperfections that transform into investment pieces. One such story surfaced when a Pennsylvania man discovered a 1974 penny in an inherited coin collection. At first glance, it looked like any other. But as he examined it under magnification, something stood out: the bold doubling on the word liberty, the crispness of Lincoln's coat, the near untouched fields. He sent it off for grading, and when it came back certified as an MS-68 red with a rare double die reverse, he was stunned. That coin would later command a jaw-dropping $116,000 at auction. And that wasn't an isolated case. Several similarly rare 1974 1-cent pieces have reached extraordinary prices, depending on era. strike quality, and grade, they've sold for between $90,000 and $140,000. It's a stunning reality that something as overlooked as a penny could command the kind of attention typically reserved for gold coins, vintage cars, or works of fine art. But in the world of coin collecting, rarity is the true currency. The 1974 penny, especially those struck in exceptional condition or with striking anomalies, embodies everything a numismatist dreams of: history, intrigue, scarcity, and financial reward. What further fuels the mystique is that many people remain unaware of what could be hiding in their own collections. Countless 1974 pennies are still floating around in circulation or stashed in dusty piggy banks, and while most are indeed common, a few are exceptional. It's those few that inspire thousands of collectors to dig through rolls, examine every coin under a loupe, and never underestimate what a penny might be worth. There are even rumors, and evidence, of 1974 aluminum cents that may have slipped through the cracks. One surfaced in the hands of a former Capitol Hill staffer, prompting legal debates and mint interventions. Though the aluminum version is a separate tale in itself, its mere existence casts a long and mysterious shadow over the 1974 cent landscape. It keeps collectors hopeful, curious, and constantly vigilant. From Philadelphia to Denver and San Francisco, the mints in 1974 produced over 10 billion Lincoln cents. But only a tiny fraction exhibit the extraordinary characteristics that elevate them to collectible status. The ones that do, those with pristine red surfaces, mint state perfection, or rare doubling, are the holy grails of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series. They represent not just a year in coinage, but a moment in history. Imagine the thrill of discovering one. You're sorting through an old jar of coins, the kind that's been sitting in a closet for years. Maybe it belonged to a grandparent. Maybe it's from a childhood habit long forgotten. Your fingers move through the coins, clinking, tumbling, one after another. And then, there it is. The year catches your eye, 1974. The color is rich, the surface gleams. You examine it further, your curiosity piqued. And that moment, that simple second of connection with a piece of American history, could be the beginning of something far greater. The 1974 1-cent penny isn't just currency. It's a storyteller. It speaks of a time of economic experimentation, of political change, of shifting priorities and innovation. And for those fortunate enough to hold one of the rare and valuable specimens, it becomes a bridge between past and present, a tangible link to legacy, and perhaps, a ticket to life-changing value. So the next time you come across a penny, don't toss it aside. Especially if it bears the year 1974. Because hidden among the billions, there might be one with a story worth far more than a cent. It might just be the key to a small fortune, a historic artifact, and a shining example of how something so small can mean so much. When we think of treasure, our minds often drift to far-off places and hidden chests overflowing with gold and jewels. But for the modern-day treasure hunter, fortune doesn't always lie buried under the sands of time. Sometimes, it's tucked away in the folds of a wallet, resting at the bottom of a coin jar, or sitting quietly in a forgotten roll of pennies. That's the curious magic of the 2008 1-cent penny, a coin so common in appearance, yet in certain rare forms, astonishingly valuable and deeply captivating to collectors around the world. The year 2008 was historic in many ways. The world was grappling with the tremors of a financial crisis that would shake economies and redefine trust in financial systems. In the United States, it was also a moment of transition. A nation stood at the edge of political change, preparing for a new administration. Amid this backdrop of turmoil and anticipation, the U.S. Mint continued its centuries-old tradition of striking coins, billions of them, including the small, humble Lincoln cent. At first glance, the 2008 penny looked no different from those minted in the years prior. Featuring the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, it was part of the final chapter of an era before the coin's reverse design would change dramatically in 2009 to honor Lincoln's bicentennial. The 2008 penny represented the end of an iconic design period that began in 1959, making it a symbolic piece in numismatic history. The mints in Philadelphia and Denver produced over 5.4 billion pennies that year. Most of these coins served their utilitarian purpose, passed between hands, dropped into vending machines, or simply discarded without a second thought. But not all 2008 pennies were created equal. A few bore the subtle, extraordinary marks of uniqueness that would transform them into coveted collector's pieces. Collectors soon discovered that certain 2008 pennies possessed rare errors and conditions that elevated their value far beyond face value. Some were struck with misaligned dies, causing off-center designs that exposed blank planchet areas. Others showcased double die obverse, where the inscriptions appeared to vibrate or shimmer due to misaligned die impressions. And still more were struck with blistering luster and perfection so fine that they achieved nearly impossible mint state grades, like MS69 or even MS70 red, a level of quality where the coin appears virtually flawless under 5x magnification. It's these exceptions, the breathtakingly perfect or uniquely flawed, that draw the attention of elite numismatists. They see in these coins not just metal and mintage, but a story, a moment, a legacy. One such 2008 penny, struck in Denver and preserved in pristine red condition, was graded MS69 RD by a top certification agency. It was auctioned to a private collector for an eye-popping $102,000. And that wasn't an outlier. Depending on the grade, condition, and error rarity, some of these 2008 1-cent pieces have commanded between $50,000 and $110,000 in high-stakes auctions and private sales. How could a modern coin, just years removed from its minting, become so valuable? The answer lies in the combination of rarity, demand, condition, and timing. The numismatic world thrives on scarcity, and even in a sea of billions, coins with elite grades or prominent errors are vanishingly rare. Only a few survive in untouched, gem-like condition. Even fewer display errors so dramatic that they tell an unmistakable story of how something went uniquely wrong, and magnificently right. On the mint floor, the 2008 penny also holds a transitional allure. It marked the end of the Lincoln Memorial Reverse, a design etched into American consciousness for half a century. The following year would bring the 4-part Lincoln Bicentennial series, making 2008 the closing chapter of a familiar, beloved era. For collectors, that makes the 2008 edition not just a coin, but a moment in time, an end before a new beginning. The mystique surrounding rare 2008 pennies has inspired a new wave of collectors. People began checking their pocket change with greater curiosity, buying rolls of pennies from banks, and scrutinizing each coin under magnifying lenses. Some have stumbled upon pennies with subtle doubling, others with unusual planchet textures or sharp anomalies in the "In God We Trust" motto. Each find is a reminder that even in the digital age, treasure hunting is alive and well. There's also a deep emotional connection that develops around these coins. Imagine discovering a 2008 penny that turns out to be worth thousands. It starts with a moment of curiosity, a glint in the light, a slight difference in tone, a bolder liberty. You set it aside. You research. You send it for grading. The envelope arrives. Your heart races. And there it is, a rare gem hiding in plain sight. A story that begins with 1 cent, and ends with a life-changing realization. Stories have emerged of schoolteachers, retirees, and even teenagers who found such coins and changed the trajectory of their financial lives. One teenager in Ohio found a rare 2008 double-die penny in his grandfather's old coin collection. He submitted it for certification and was stunned when it came back with a premium grade and error classification. That coin later sold at auction for over $95,000, enough to fund his college education. What makes the 2008 penny even more intriguing is its accessibility. It's a coin many of us have handled, tossed into jars, used to scratch off lottery tickets, or left behind in store trays. It's not exotic or ancient, it's familiar. And yet, within that familiarity lies mystery, and for the fortunate few, unimaginable value. The lesson? Never overlook the ordinary. Never assume that just because something is common, it can't be rare. In the world of coins, greatness often hides behind copper luster and Lincoln's solemn profile. And every so often, someone stumbles upon that greatness, and it changes everything. So whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just beginning to pay attention to the change in your hand, remember this: the 2008 1-cent penny is more than a coin. It's a symbol of hidden worth, of transitions, and of how history and value often hide in the most unexpected places. Somewhere, right now, someone might be holding a fortune in their palm and not even know it. Will you be the one to find it?